Hello, and welcome to Sarah's Joyful Journey. I'm Sarah Joy, and I'm so happy to be here with you to share my 1-year Ketoversary. In the lead up to this video, you will have seen pictures of before and after, my progress throughout the year, just different pictures of my journey. So how far have I really come? Well, we're going to find out shortly. It's been a nice journey. It's not without its struggles. I've had lots of good times and bad times, but I have gained a new understanding and a new love and appreciation for myself. And I think that is the biggest change that has been made. I started out the year as a type 2 diabetic. I have been a type 2 diabetic on and off. I have put it in remission before or reversed it, depending on the terminology that you have heard used before. But it's something that I have struggled with for over 20 years because I've gone back and forth. I've gone back and forth between a low-carb diet and the standard American diet. Finally, I hit my breaking point last year on July 4th, which is a year from today. I said, I'm done. Enough is enough. I'm tired of living this way. I was in pain. I could hardly move. I was starting to have to use a cane just to go out and walk certain places. It was not a very comfortable place to be. I was on a lot of medications and had a lot of issues that needed to be dealt with. So I had gone to the doctor in June, and that really set the tone for me trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I have done pretty much every diet under the planet out there through the course of this. I even did probably about 6 to 8 months prior to me starting keto. I did do carnivore, and I was able to sustain that for about 4 months. I chose not to go back to a pure carnivore because for me it's unsustainable. It's not, I still enjoy having some vegetables. I still enjoy being able to have things like keto chow, which is a new love of mine. And I want to be able to enjoy those things. So keto is the path for me. I am predominantly meat-based. Most of my meals are meat-based. I typically eat 2MAD. It's what really works for me. I have done OMAD. I don't tend to do a lot of fasting because I find fasting, the terminology of fasting is triggering for me. The process of trying to say that I am not going to eat till this time is triggering and can actually, for me and my genetic makeup and my journey, I have found that it can actually lead to a binge. So I have worked really hard in the past year to work on intuitive eating and figuring out what are my hunger signals and what works best for me. It's generally 2MAD. Usually I'll do lunch and dinner, but recently I've been doing a lot more breakfast and lunch and fasting through dinner, and that has made a significant difference in my fasting blood sugars in the morning. They've been great for a while, but now they're getting even better. So I'm happy with that progression. It takes a little bit more work for me because I have to get up and I have to prepare food in the morning, and then I have to remember to pack food for work. I don't always want to do that. Sometimes I just want to take the easy road and just not bring a lunch, but it does work when I put the time in and I go from there. So I started, my heaviest weight was 295 pounds. When I started a year ago, I was 280 pounds. I am proud to say that I've lost half of my excess body weight in 1 year. That realization hit me this morning that I am literally half the person that I used to be a year ago. That's such a dramatic change. I think the impact of that still fully hasn't set in for me, that I am literally half the person I used to be. I still have a ways to go before I get to my ultimate goal, and I am okay with that. For me, keto has not been about the weight loss. It's been about achieving metabolic health. So I've looked at my why going forward from the beginning as achieving metabolic health. I have come very, very close. All my blood markers are where they are supposed to be. I still am on blood pressure medication. Still a little frustrated about that, but I think things are going to be changing. So I started this year on 3 different blood pressure medications. I am now down to 2. I think I could easily go down to 1, but my doctor is a little bit resistant, so I just keep marching forward and doing the best I can. I'm also getting to the point where I realize that I am going to have to get a new doctor because my doctor is not the best doctor for supporting my health goals going forward. I just have not made that change yet. I have been prescribed a statin for a year. It's been slowly getting increased over the year because my doctor is not happy with my cholesterol numbers, which I will share with you momentarily. My research and my personal opinions on statins are they are not for me. And I am not a doctor or a healthcare professional, just FYI. These are just, I've put in time and I've put in research and I have made a choice that is best for me not to take it. Now, my doctor does prescribe it. It is still on my medical chart that I am on a statin, but I have never taken it and never taken one. And I will not continue to take one. It's not for me. I don't think that it's a beneficial for my health journey. And you can see the progress that I've made when I start going over those numbers. So it's exciting to be here and look back at how far I have come. Again, I said I started my journey at 295 pounds at my highest. The first marker I'm going to share with you is my BMI. I know BMI is not considered the best indicator of health, and I do generally agree with that, but it still shows you a progression of how far you have come and if you are getting closer to the range that you want to be. I know it's not accurate because some people have lots of muscle, and that muscle is reflected in the BMI. This is not the case for me because I am still very obese. Well, I can't say that anymore. I am still considered obese, but I'm not very obese. But my BMI started when I was 295 pounds at 46.2. When I was at 280, which is what I was when I started my keto journey, I was at 43.2. As of this morning, I was 210 pounds, which means my BMI was 32.9. That is a significant difference in 1 year in just that one marker alone. I am blown away at how much keto has changed my life and changed just my markers. I did take my measurements a week ago. I wish I had taken them at the beginning of this journey so I could really see my progress, but I remember some of my numbers from heavier times. So I'll share a couple of those and just see how far that I've come. I remember at one point my neck was 17 inches. As of a week ago, it's now 15. So that's significant. I don't remember my arm measurements. I do remember my thigh measurements. My thigh measurements were 25, and I've lost some there, not a significant amount. They are 24 and a half and 23 and a half. The one that really gets me every single time is my full bust measurement. My full bust membership measurement at one point was 56. My measurement as of a week ago was 47. Just let that sink in. 56 to 47. That's almost 12 inches. That just is mind-boggling. I really can't even express what that means at this point. It's so significant and it's such a change. I know my hips at one point were also like 57. My hips are at 47. I can't even speak because of the emotions right now going through it. It's just so much. I can't believe that I allowed myself to get to the point that I was. I can't believe how far I've come in such a short amount of time. 1 year is not long. It's really, really short. It just blows me away. So my A1C, when it was measured, when I moved down here and I first went back to the doctor, so that was February of 2022, my A1C was 7.6. Things happened, stress happened. And in May of 2022, my A1C was 8. In August, so about a month, a little over a month, about 6 weeks after I started keto, I was at 7.3. So in just that couple of months, I've made some progress. In November, my A1C was 5.9. I hung out at that range for a really long time. It was still at 5.9 in February of this year. So in a year from the time that I had my first A1C measured to that point, I went from a 7.6 to a 5.9. And that includes the fact that I went up. So I technically went from an 8 to a 5.9. 5.9, according to all the charts that I have found, is prediabetes. That was significant. And in May, at the end of May, when I had my blood work done, it was 5.4. That is considered a normal A1C. Would I like my A1C to be a little bit lower? Yes, but I am really happy because that means that my A1C is now considered a normal A1C and that I no longer have type 2 diabetes. I wish that I had known what my fasting insulin was at the beginning of my journey as well. I did measure it and it's an 8.3, which means that I don't really show signs of insulin resistance, which is also proven by the other metabolic markers of my test results from the past year. My HDL was at 1.50, which is considered a decent HDL. That's what your doctors want you to have, is a minimum of 50. I had it, but it has gotten better. I have gone from a 50 to a 65. And now that I'm focusing on gaining muscle and putting on more muscle mass, I'm hoping that that will continue to rise. My total cholesterol started in May of 2022 at 263. My total cholesterol is down to 225. I am okay with that. My doctor, of course, is not. He still thinks my LDL is way too high. I personally believe that LDL is not the villain in this scenario, and I have made significant improvements there as well. My LDL started out at 157 and I am now at 141, and I know it's going to continue to get better. I am still considered obese and I still have 65 pounds that I would like to lose and need to lose to get to a healthy weight for my body. My triglycerides have made probably the most significant transformation. They started out in May of 2022 as 363. My triglycerides are now 89. I just can't even believe the progress that has been made. My cholesterol ratio, when I started, was 5.3. It's now 3.5. I think one of the hardest things for me is my doctor doesn't comment on all the other markers that have changed with my health. He just keeps harping on the fact that my LDL is too high and I am at risk for a heart attack, which is my main reason for wanting to find a new doctor. That and another issue that I'm dealing with, but it's okay. We'll get there. So when I weighed myself in June of 2022, I was 280 pounds. By August 25th, the day after my birthday, I was down to 253 pounds. I started doing in-body scans every 3 months in August. At the beginning of August is when I had my first in-body scan, and I have the sheets there, and that's been nice because it allows me to track my progress. It also allowed me to see an issue that I have with another medication that I'm currently on, and I'll discuss that again in just a minute. I've mentioned it in a previous video. By October 27th, so right around Halloween, my weight was down to 250 pounds. But in November 15th, I was down to 244 pounds. So I've had times where I've gone up and down as I have had to deal with the emotions of eating, the triggers of eating. Definitely was taught binge eating and stress eating and eating feelings and those issues are really tough to deal with, and they take challenging yourself, and you have to figure out why you're eating. And I have not been perfect in this past year, and I will never be perfect, but I have taken the time to look at my triggers. What causes me to eat? What issues have I dealt with? What foods are triggers for me? And I have found several foods that I have to abstain from. I generally am not a moderator, but an abstainer works for me. Maybe one day I will be able to be a moderator, but maybe not. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with abstaining. There's so much that I get to enjoy that I don't really feel like I'm missing anything. In December 5th of 2022, my weight was 242 pounds. By Christmas, I was down to 235. In February, I was 233. And I got down to, by the middle of February, 227 pounds. I had an in-body scan on March 6th, and I was 229 pounds, but shortly after that, on the 15th, I was 224. And most of the numbers I'm giving you are on my home scale, and I have found out that my home scale is actually really accurate compared to what my doctor's scale is, because I'm able to weigh in the morning before I go to the doctor's, and they're almost identical. By April 5th, I was 220 pounds. By the end of April, I was 214 pounds. The beginning of June, on the 9th, I was 213 pounds. And when I went for my doctor's visit on the 12th, I was 217 pounds. Now, I will let you know that I was dealing with some inflammation, and when I weighed last Friday, July 1st, I was also 217 pounds. And I know it's inflammation because since the 1st, in 4 days, I have lost 7 pounds. So that is water weight, that's inflammation, that's some other things that I knew were going on, which is why I took on my BBBBE challenge, is I knew I had some extra inflammation that I needed to get rid of, and I had some things that were starting to creep in. I was starting to go to Wawa and get zero sugar lemonades, and those were becoming a daily habit again, and I needed to get that into check. So hence BBBE, and I've been loving it so far. I've not had any trouble sticking with it, which I have had in the past. I usually balk and go, but I don't want to eat just 3 things, being beef or ruminant animals, bacon and eggs, but it's been fantastic. Usually in the morning I get up and I make a sheet of bacon and have some eggs, and I've been doing a lot of ground beef because I can just grab and go. So that's a lot of information. One thing I did notice in this past year is my doctor put me on a medication called Mounjaro. This is going to be the same class of drug as Ozempic, which of course has been in the news. And I am sharing this because I want to be honest and I want to share my experience. I did not originally want to go on Mounjaro. My doctor was insistent. I did some research and I did decide that it was a tool that I could use. And I have always viewed it as a tool. And I've remained on a low dose until about a month ago. He upped my dose to 7.5. I've been miserable since he has put me on that dose. I have not been able to eat. There were days I was tracking and I was lucky if I was eating 1,000 calories and 40 grams of protein. That was not enough. And I think that was also potentially triggering some inflammation. I don't know for sure, but it triggered a lot of things. So I did put my focus on BBE so that I can make sure that I am getting my minimum amount of protein, which for me, I do not want to have less than 100 grams of protein. I feel best when I eat 125 to 150 grams of protein. So that is the range that I am staying within, and doing triple B&E allows me to get to the point where I can do that. My calories are still not where I want them to be. I am still eating fairly significantly less than my basal metabolic rate. And for those of you who are curious, let me open my paper so that I can see what my last basal metabolic rate was according to my InBody scan. My last basal metabolic rate was 1648. So I've been eating, and at one point my basal metabolic rate was 1704. So my metabolism has slowed down recently. So I am working to get that back up and gain some muscle, because in the past year I have lost 6 pounds of muscle, a lean muscle mass, and I am not okay with that. But now I realize the issue. I realize why I have the issue, and I am working really hard to correct that issue. And that is my main focus going forward this year, is working on strength training and regaining the muscle lost and getting off the remaining medications that I am on. I did contact my doctor and asked to be taken off the Mounjaro, and it was not favorably received. He basically told me that I cannot stop, because if I stop, my blood sugar will come back and I will lose all the control that I have over my type 2 diabetes, because according to him, I am still a type 2 diabetic. And this I disagree with vehemently. My diet and the work that I've put in has done the majority of the work, but he thinks it's all medication. And unfortunately, what research I have done, that is not supported. It's not in the science that the Mounjaro has done all of this for me. This has been a lot of personal work. It's been a lot of eating the proper things, because I know I would have had these losses if I had not even taken the Mounjaro, because like I said, I've had experiences in my life where I have done low carbs and I have done very, very well, and I have seen the progress in my blood markers at that point. So I know that it's not all the medication. But I did have to call in a refill the other day, since he wouldn't take me on it, and surprise, surprise, my insurance is now balking at covering it, and they had to send a message to my doctor to get my refill that I got on a prescription a month ago approved by the doctor. So secretly, I'm over here hoping that they will not approve it and that it will not get filled, and then I can go back and say, look, here's my blood markers for 2 months without Mounjaro, because it wouldn't get approved. And I have been very blessed to be part of a program, a diabetes program, which I will be graduating in September, most likely. He's doing one more visit with me. I meet every 3 months with a pharmacist to talk about my goals, what I'm working on, how my blood markers have gone, how I've been able to control my sugars. And that has allowed me to get my CGM, which I love, for free, as well as my Mounjaro for free. And Mounjaro is very, very expensive, as I'm sure you guys know. It's about $1,500 a month. There's no way that I could ever afford that. So that was one of the other factors in why I originally decided to use it as a tool, is because I had the opportunity to take it and use it without having to pay out of pocket for it, or even have my insurance copay for it. But that is changing, and I am okay with that. So going forward, my focus is for the next year, I have picked a word that is going to be representative of my journey and everything that I'm going through, and that word is consistency. I'm just going to keep moving forward. It was a word last year too, and it's really only become apparent in the last couple months that that's what I have done. So I am tracking, for now, my food, my measurements, my workouts. Tracking my workouts has actually been kind of fun, because my work has a program called Be Well, Be You. And they have it where if you earn so many points between the 6 months of this period, you can earn prizes. So I did pick a prize, and I'm nearly there. I've had to earn 10,000 points, and I have about 2,000 more to go. And I have decided that I would like one of those digital meter thermometers that I wouldn't necessarily buy for myself. Well, I might have, but at $100, it would have been a struggle. So I am really close to earning that. I have consistently done movement that since I've been tracking for 61 days. 61 days of movement. I can't even remember a time before now that has been the case. I do walk a lot at work, and most days I walk between 8 and 12,000 steps just at work. So often at times I come home and I would still do another 30 minutes either out on a walk or a treadmill. And in the past week, I have added some strength training in, and that has made a big difference. Even though I have lighter weights, I feel the impact of that. I did 4 days in a row and had to take 2 days off because I could barely move. I mean, I could still move, but it was just, I felt all my muscles, and there is truth in that phrase when they say no pain, no gain. I was not injured, but I was definitely feeling some pain just from using muscles that I haven't used. And my goal is to get to the point where I do 6 days a week of strength training using some walking. In the past year, I have progressed in how fast I can walk. I started walking at about 2.5 to 3 miles an hour, and now I can comfortably walk at 3.8 to 4. I have also in the past 4 months started running. I'm still really slow as a runner, and I'm okay with that. I still can't go really far, and I'm okay with that. But I am enjoying what running I'm getting, and yesterday I was able to do one song while I was on the treadmill at 5 miles an hour, which is the fastest I have gone. Small victories are still victories, and I'm really excited about just the amazing progress that I have made over the year and what progress that I can make moving forward. I also realize that with school, I'm in a place where I may not lose as quickly, and that my goal may actually have to be maintaining status quo. So I think that I'll still lose weight this year. I'm pretty sure I will, but I think that it's going to be at a much slower pace. I don't have a specific goal in mind, but I kind of have an idea. If I lost half my excess weight in a year, if I take half of my remaining excess weight, which would be about 35-ish pounds, that is probably a reasonable amount to lose in the next year. Maybe I'll lose more than that. Maybe I'll lose a little bit less than that. But 35 pounds in a year seems totally doable. It would be fantastic if I got all the way to my weight goal in a year, which is 145 pounds. But I don't see that happening. And I'm okay with that. I have gained so much confidence and so much love for myself that I could technically stay where I'm at right now, and I would be happy. Most days. I definitely want to get smaller. It's just something that I want to do, and I can't remember really the last time I was 145 pounds. I think it was when I was 18 or 19, so right before I got married and had my first baby. So a long part of my life has been being overweight. The past 25 years, I have been significantly and morbidly obese. And to see that progression that I've made in 1 year is just mind-boggling. I know I've said that a lot, but it's literally the only word that I can think of to express how far I've actually come. I went out yesterday and I got a new outfit. You will see the picture in the credits. And I bought a size large shorts, and they fit well, but they are getting loose. So I am really close to having to go down to a size 12. And that I literally cannot remember the last time I wore a size 12. It would have been sometime during the time that I was pregnant, because I wore an 8. Yeah, it was about an 8 when I got pregnant with my oldest daughter, right about the time that I met my husband. So that is a huge, huge thing. At one point, I know last year I was wearing a 2X, 3X, and I was in a size 22, 24. I did get up to at one point I was wearing a 3, 4X and a 26, 28. And now I am solidly in a size 14, and I wear a large, and as you can see, they fit well, but I have some room. I probably could have gone to a medium on this top and been okay. I didn't. I'm still adjusting to the fact that a size large is my normal. I still reach for an extra large. Sometimes I know over the past year, I consistently was reaching for a 2X. I have cleaned out my closet in the process, and will continue to clean out my closet. it's just so much joy. Just so much has happened, and I can't even imagine my life the way that it used to be. Some other things that have happened with just me in general is I have struggled my entire life with depression and anxiety. I think a lot of that was tied to the fact that I am autistic, and I am also pretty sure I have ADHD, even though that is not been professionally diagnosed. And I am not capable of diagnosing myself, but my research leads to a strong possibility that that is the case. I just haven't gone through the process of getting it physically diagnosed or actually diagnosed, because medication tends to be the first thing that they do for you, and I do not want medication. So I'm learning to manage some of my challenges on my own. If it comes to a point where I feel that I need some medication, I will of course seek that. I am a big proponent of mental health, as you know, because I am a psych major and I am working on my PhD in health psychology. And that choice is not by accident. I love the progress that I've made in the year, and I love how far I've come. And it's something that I want to be able to use and to help others achieve the same things that I have achieved, because it is possible. So I want to work within the, at some point, I do want to become a health coach. I am not yet. I could probably start that certification. I'm not so sure if I need it. I haven't done too much research on it just because school is my priority. And I may not need it if I have a PhD. I don't know. I have to figure that out. But I do know that I want to work with people who are type 2 diabetics, and I want to work with people who have grown up impoverished, because that is my background. And I want to show them that life can be very different, and food can impact every aspect of your life, not just your physical health, but it can affect your mental health as well. Mine has dramatically changed. I don't deal with the depression the way that I used to. That does not mean that I still don't have sadness and sad days. I do. I still have anxiety. It is pretty much gone. Only when I'm super stressed does it become prevalent. The biggest things that I struggle with now are just my autism symptoms, like overstimulation. It's still a thing. It will always be a thing. But I have learned some new tricks and tools for that, and that has been helpful. I just put myself first, and I've put a lot of work and effort into learning what my limitations are and sticking within those limitations. Like when I come to a point where it's just like, nope, I am not capable of doing this right now, it's okay. And I remember to give myself grace and say, you can't do it today, but maybe you can do it tomorrow, or maybe you can do it another day. So just because I can do something one day doesn't mean the next day that I can. But I have been getting very consistent with everything, even just in general, of what I can and can't accomplish. And my health markers have made a huge improvement into how well I can deal with my executive function, which is still very much impacted, but it's all good. We are going to keep marching forward and keep learning and keep growing and keep succeeding and working hard to achieve all the goals that I want to achieve for my life. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch me ramble on about this now for 35 minutes. I'm not so sure I have been clear and logical on everything, but I am expressing my heart the best way that I know how. And I hope that it has made a difference for you and has inspired you, because that is my whole goal. Is I want to inspire you and I want to encourage you that you can do this too. And it doesn't have to be difficult. You just literally have to take it one day at a time, or if you need to, 1 hour at a time, one meal at a time. Make the changes. It can be done. It doesn't have to be a 0 to perfect. It will never be from 0 to perfect. It is a progression. You do have to make changes along the way, and it can be done. So I hope that you have a wonderful day and that you check back with us next week when I give you an update on how my week 1 of BBBE has gone. I'm going to continue that for at least 30 days, if not 60. I don't know if I'm going to go 60 because my birthday is next month and I want some chicken wings for my birthday, and that would be right smack dab in the middle of BPE if I did 60. So that may be the one thing that stops me. I also have some the banana muffin keto brick in the pantry that arrived the day before I started BPE, and I have not tried that. So that may, by the end of the month, be calling my name as a desire to see how good that is, because I know it'll be amazing. But that's a mental desire. That's not a physical desire. I'm not craving that or anything, but it's there, and I know it's there, and I would like to eat it at some point. Plus, I miss my keto chow ice cream, and I know I'm going to want that with as hot as it's been here in Florida. It would be nice to have that as a nice cool down in the afternoon, or after an intense workout, have something cool and refreshing. So I don't think I'll be going beyond the 30 days because I just like some of my treats. All right, well, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and click subscribe if you haven't already. And if you click the bell notification, you will get notified anytime I decide to sit in front of a camera and ramble on at you about my life and my journey. So have a wonderful day. Bye for now.